that homeschoolers are not socialized. It's just nonsense. Every study that's been done shows that they're as equally socialized and so on. And then don't forget, you know, one of the great things is you're not going to have the influence of the peer group, which is a real downside to school socialization, you know. And, you know, I don't want to get too depressing about it, but here in America, the suicide rate, particularly for middle school age children, is increased to the point where they're more likely to commit suicide than die in a car accident now. That's shocking to me. And why is school like the only place for them, right? And so many people, you know, I mean, we talked about alternatives to school, but it's actually homeschoolers that are finding these places. And then some of them are trying to get started, like to fund themselves, like learning centers that are coming up. But it's hard because, you know, unschoolers in particular, they just want to, you know, it's on a need to know basis and, you know, fee for service. You know, and these guys have rent and teachers and materials that they have to fund. So I get the dilemma that's there. But to me, it's grown organically this way, you know, for 3 decades now. That 36 plus years I've been involved in it, and it keeps growing. You know, there was some studies that showed it kind of plateaued a few years ago, still growing. You know, so I'm not worried, you know, that all of a sudden, you know, homeschooling is going to stop growing. But I think what we need to do if someone is like saying, I'm really scared to try it, is to introduce them to other homeschoolers, you know, and let them talk to people who may have only been homeschooling for 6 months themselves. Well, what's that like? Because I could talk till I'm blue in the face, but it's always third hand. I'm telling you what I've read, who I knew, what happened with my kids who are now adults. You know, I mean, that's great. I think it helps people, but at the same time, I know it's not enough. Like, you know, that, you know, people say, yeah, but this is 2019. You did this back in the 1990s, you know? Well, I hate to tell you this, but John's books still have relevance, and they were written 50 years ago. You know, but school hasn't changed that much. Yeah, the pressure has. There's more schooling. It's more expensive. The years have gotten longer. And the intensity, you know, I mean, the intensity, well, there's a suicide rate. I spoke in Ireland a few years ago, and as I was preparing for my speech there was an article about the increase in suicides among college students, particularly in Galway. That which is a big university town, that would, you know, kill themselves because if they didn't get certain grades, they wouldn't be able to find work. They just felt completely worthless. You know, school does that. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You know, it's a sorting machine, and so I would hope that, you know, and again, this is, you know, a different question, so I won't go there about the future of education. But to deal with, so I would tell these parents, talk to other people, or try to find people who are roughly, you know, just a little bit ahead of where they are, to talk to them. Go online, find support groups, you know, and talk to the people. The important thing is to talk to people who are doing it, because they know best what's going on with the local laws, the local situation, and who to talk to and who to avoid. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have agendas about homeschooling, you know, and they want you to be on their political party or their special interest group or whatever. It's like, well, fine, but I'm for homeschooling, period. I'm not. I don't want to get involved in all this other stuff because, you know, that's you using homeschooling to grind an axe. I just want homeschooling to be open and legal and available to anyone who wants to try it.